Lemon, lime, and a drop of cherry make a simple Shirley. But what happens when Tito's handmade vodka reveals this sweet sipper's dirty secret? Stir up a Tito's Dirty Sherlock and crack the case with Tito's at Tito'sVodka.com. 40% alcohol by volume, namely 80 proof, crafted to be savored responsibly.
If you can't tell by the sound of my voice, I'm completely naked. I'm bearing it all. I've got nothing to hide. Because just like Cricket Wireless, I believe in total transparency. Cricket puts it all out there. It's all there for the world to see. The taxes are already included in the price of their plans. So I'm not surprised when people stare. They've just never seen anything this transparent before.
Switch to Cricket for a phone plan that bears it all. With transparent pricing. Smile, you're on Cricket.
For exclusive podcasts and more, sign up at patreon.com/partnersincrimemedia.
This week's Law & Order Marathon winner is Kay Slagle from Swissville, Pennsylvania. Kay will get a marathon decal showing she watched 26.2 hours of her favorite crime show. To be next week's winner, sign up at lawandorderpodcast.com.
I'm Kevin Flynn with Rebecca Lavoie and Brandi Brown, and these are their stories.
You think you know who did it, but you don't know who did it. Law and order, law and order, law and order. It's no ordinary police procedural, baby. It's the FNOG of police procedurals, baby. Law and order, law and order, law and order, law and order. These are their stories, these are their stories.
Welcome to These Are Their Stories, the podcast about network TV's most enduring crime franchise and the real-life cases that inspired their shows. I'm Kevin Flynn. Each podcast will break down an episode from either Criminal Intent, SVU, or Original Recipe, and today we're looking at The Mothership, Season 24, Episode 2, The Perfect Man.
If word gets out, if women find out that their DNA is being used in some rogue database, they might not come forward. They might not consent to a rape kit.
It's not ideal. I agree, but Laura's case is highly unusual.
Joining me to do just that is true crime author and the host of Crime Writers On and Netflix's You Can't Make This Up podcasts, Rebecca Lavoie. Hello, Rebecca.
Hey, Kevin.
And rounding out our panel is our special returning guest, the lovely, talented, and always funny Brandi Brown.
Hello, hello.
Did I put a lot of pressure by building you up like that?
No. Always funny, except today.
Except today.
I'll try my best.
So it's a new season of Law & Order. Usually we ask you, who your favorite detective team is. Last time you said it was Briscoe and Green. But this time we're going to do something different on the podcast. NBC recently celebrated the new seasons of Law & Order and SVU with an interactive fan experience in Boston. It was called Law & Order Station. It celebrated all things Law & Order. There were photo booths, free sweatshirts, donuts with a dun-dun on them, and a coffee and a newsstand. And Rebecca and I asked the residents of Beantown, who is your favorite Law & Order detective team? So we're here in Boston at Faneuil Hall for
Law & Order Station.
Of all the franchises, who's your favorite Law & Order detective team?
I like the SVU team.
Oh, obviously, Stabler and Benson.
Tutuola with his one-liners.
I don't know the name. Show up to her.
I like the woman,
Olivia Benson?
Yes. Olivia.
Yes.
I was sad when Lenny Briscoe died. I mean, in real life, when he died. Yeah.
I love Olivia Benson.
I love Creasy. He's my favorite.
Olivia Benson.
Benson and Stabler. I like the old ones. I love them all, but I like the old ones.
Well, I like Ice-T. I didn't know, but he's not.
Do you know his character's name?
No, I don't know anybody's name.
Olivia Benson, and I liked... I don't know what his name... Danny Pino was the actor.
Amaro,
yes. I loved Amaro.
I gotta say, that's not usually the popular pick we get.
Everybody likes Maloney, but I like Amaro.
Same. Because I was...
Amaro?
Yeah.
They love Amaro in Boston, who, go figure. And you have a favorite prosecutorial team?
Cabot was my favorite.
He was good, Barbara. Yeah.
McCoy. I don't know the prosecutors now. Dun, 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 dun. Who was the guy?
Barba? Carisi?
Carisi. That's why you thought. That's my favorite, Carisi.
I missed them all when they left. Every one of them was great. I don't think there was any one bad actor or actress that when they left that show you didn't have like a like a little hot string pulled when they were gone.
Do you remember Peter Stone, though?
Peter Stone, who was he?
Yeah.
Who was he? Peter Stone.
Completely not rememberable. He was the DA between Barba and Carisi.
Oh, yeah, no, I don't remember him. He didn't.
So do you want to change your answer about how everyone said, yeah?
Everyone that I saw.
All right, let's take a look at the first half of this episode, Law & Order Season 24, Episode 2, The Perfect Man. Well, we open on a dude who spends way much time stealing the Wi-Fi in a local coffee shop. He's sending flowers and writing love notes to someone. Then we see him walk to meet that someone in Central Park before getting shot right in the eye.
We're canvassing for witnesses, cameras, but so far no dice.
You got a name?
No wallet, no phone, no keys.
So we know nothing about this guy?
Except for the fact he had a meal 2 days ago at a place called Purple Waves Cafe.
It's a breakfast joint over by Bryant Park.
Detectives Vincent Riley and Jalen Shaw learned that Tyler Miller created an app for women to date an AI-generated boyfriend named Eli, and the ladies be loving it. Tyler's missing phone is tracked to a dope fiend who got it from another dope fiend who saw a woman running away from the crime scene. The woman is spotted on video tossing Tyler's wallet into a dumpster. Riley and Shaw say the suspect's DNA from the wallet isn't in the federal criminal database, so new precinct lieutenant Jess Brady makes the questionable decision to run it through the city's local database. It's a match for Laura Kingsbury, who willingly surrenders to detectives. While Brady and prosecutor Nolan Price struggle to find a motive, they get a surprise visit from SVU Captain Olivia Benson. She says Laura is a past rape victim whose case patrolmen didn't take seriously. Benson nearly flips her shit when she learns the DNA they used to connect her was from her rape kit in the local database. At trial, Price and Maroun are surprised when hotshot defense attorney Rita Calhoun announces she's calling Olivia Benson to the stand to testify for the defense. There is one crime that definitely should get Tyler murdered, and that is spending way too much time hogging a single table and sucking the Wi-Fi at a coffee shop.
Got you anything else?
What do you think of these?
Nice.
Yeah, but what if you were the most amazing woman in the world?
That is somehow insulting and charming all at the same time.
That waitress ought to fucking kill him for that.
Also, the roses are like $560. Like, I don't send roses. I didn't know the market for them, but $560 for what?
Yes, it was a lot.
Maybe that's Manhattan flower prices. I don't know.
I don't know either, but it certainly wasn't like urban stems.
It was a pretty big bouquet, but still.
Still not big enough for the perfect woman. Which obviously, waitress, you are not.
Yes.
That was a dig.
That's right. Imagine if you were beautiful. Would you like these?
Imagine that. Imagine that. By the way, why does he need to do all this work in the coffee shop when we hear that his office is literally across the street?
Well, because he's getting his weird food order. I thought that was like he takes his break and he gets his like cinnamon eggs.
Yes.
Or whatever they were. So he just takes a break and does that.
But surely, this guy's doing all this work in the coffee shop, and I'm sure the Wi-Fi is way faster at the multi-million-dollar tech firm you built from the ground up.
You think?
And the Wi-Fi's got to be way more secure than the network Donut Hole Guest.
I mean, sometimes you just got to get out of the office. So I think when you're doing your stalking, you just want to scene shift.
Yeah, I mean, even though the office that you're in, I mean, we've seen it. There's plenty of privacy, and you're kind of doing what your job is anyway, coming up with stupid romantic things to put in your little notebook.
Yes, things Eli would say.
Things that Eli would say.
Like, it makes me like, what was the one when like the bubbly, the bubbles in your nose?
I love
when
the
you
way
drink
your nose wrinkles when you drink something fizzy.
Yes.
I'm drinking something fizzy right now. I love it.
Did I get that right?
You got that exactly right.
It was very memorable.
You got that exactly right.
Just so many things about this app and the design of the app. This Eli, is it just one like avatar?
Call me as soon as it's over. Just because I like to see you happy. Oh, Melanie, you are so pretty when you're happy. Call me. I love you.
Eli is just that one guy. Like, they didn't even like customize it for different women. They're really leaving a lot of market share on the table.
The one basic white dude.
Yeah, it's just a one basic white dude. I was like, he's gonna scam me up for like cryptocurrency. Like, why him?
You just get that one basic white guy who apparently is good looking, asks about your day, listens to everything you say, offers endless support, and makes no demands of you. In other words, completely made up.
No, the greatest line is it sends her memes all day perfectly aligned to her mood. I'm like, just get a group chat, girl. They're free. Like, that's all my friends and I do all day.
I was just like, what a cock, am I right?
Yeah.
And then he'll find you on Snapchat. Like, what? I'm not paying $75 a month for a stalker.
A digital stalker. Yeah.
Do they tell you that in the terms of service? Like you can't leave.
Our app is like the Hotel California, basically.
This is like the McAfee antivirus program. You shut it off, and then 3 weeks later, it asks you, are you sure? It's like, there's no virus, McAfee. Yeah. You're the virus.
It's like, I'm still here.
So it's great to like have an app for a boyfriend, and still he like stays out all night with the other apps. You know, it's like he's hanging out with his buddies DraftKings and WhatsApp, and then like you wake up in the morning, there's mascara running down your face, and you're like, who is Candy Crush? And why does she want to use your Facebook login? Always starts off great, even with the apps.
Yeah, yeah.
So in looking for someone who might have a grudge against Tyler, they find a guy who lost his girlfriend to Eli.
You don't know what it's like competing with a machine. Eli's a damn dream. He sends my fiance memes all day, perfectly aligned to her mood. He's teaching her freaking French. I lost her to him.
She would rather spend time with an app instead of him. And I got the feeling this might actually be on you.
Yeah, I literally wrote that in my notes. I was like, have you tried being better? Like, I was surprised that the detectives were like, have you tried to get her to break up with it? And I'm like, no, maybe you just be better. Like,
yes. Elevate your game a tiny bit.
He sends memes all day. That's literally the minimum. Like, dudes do that all the time. I'm friends with a lot of guys. They just send memes. You don't have to, you could just write LOL and they're cool with it. Like, you are so bad at it.
Just a heart.
How do you move out of your house to move in with an app?
I have so many questions.
I'm taking the good towels.
This episode should just be called "We Have Questions." Like, before we even get to the crime.
Yeah, it seems this dude isn't using his one advantage over Eli, which is he has a penis.
Yeah, it's like what? Like,
actually.
Just
yeah,
saying.
I mean, that was the other thing too. I was just like, okay, so what are we doing here for like sex here? Like, what is? I mean, I understand the companionship aspect of it, but
I think this proves my point that the penis is actually not that important. It's a thing that, like, I have known for many years. Babe, I love you. But the penis is not why we're together. Let's be real. You're funny. You're charming. You're lovely. You're my Eli. Your face. Kevin, I take it back. Your penis is 100% why we're together.
Oh, super.
Kevin, just send her memes. Just send her memes.
Send her memes, yeah. Yeah, or you can stay with an app. That's fine. Alexa, where's the G-spot? You know. Hey, let's take a look at our cast. So there are two new faces to Law & Order, familiar faces to the cast. The first is Golden Globe winner Maura Tierney playing Lieutenant Jessica Brady.
We found your DNA on the victim's wallet. There's an eyewitness who saw you fleeing the crime scene. There's images of you leaving the park in a hurry. And we found the gun under your bed, in the suitcase that you hid it in.
So Maura's been nominated for Emmy Awards for ER and for The Affair. Let's see, coming up in the ranks, both she and her future husband were fired from a show called The Ralph Macchio Project.
Okay.
Couldn't apparently did not meet the Ralph Macchio comedy standards for a network pilot.
So they were like trauma bonding and then they got together? Like what? How? Like, what were they doing on this show?
They might have been like on their first date. They're like, you two? Oh, yeah. Macchio was a dick. Man, all that Karate Kid money went to his head, but by the time he's doing Karate Kid 4, he's blown it all. She was also fired from Growing Pains. She said she wasn't a good match for Kirk Cameron.
Well, lucky her.
Yeah, to which I asked, who is a good match for Kirk Cameron?
Lots. He probably had her fired. Remember, he had that girl fired who would play his girlfriend who had posed in Playboy, and he had her fired because she didn't match his morality clause or whatever. The dude's a douche. He's been a douche since he was a kid.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Maura's breakout role was on News Radio as Lisa, starring the show starring Dave Foley, Andy Dick, Phil Hartman, and Joe Rogan. Whatever happened to him? No, I mean, I'm serious. Whatever happened to him?
Wasn't Joe Rogan also on not Spin City, the other one, Just Shoot Me? Was he on Just Shoot Me? Because that's where I first saw him.
I remember he was on Fear Factor as the crazy host. Yeah, it's like if Jeff Provost, took LSD and said it'd be funny to eat a frog.
Yeah, I mean, his breakout, I just remember him, when he called out Carlos Mencia for stealing jokes. But then I thought he was on Just Shoot Me, because I used to watch that show all the time when I was on medical leave from college. I had a doctor's note to watch it. And
also new to the cast is District Attorney Nicholas Baxter is Tony Goldwyn.
Trying to parse the words of a dead man that are at best uncomfortable? You're playing into the defense's hand.
He's best known probably for his role as sexy President Fitzgerald Grant on Scandal.
Yes.
And he is the grandson of Samuel Goldwyn, the G in MGM. His other grandfather won an Oscar for writing Gone with the Wind. His older brother is the president of Paramount Studios. And I ask, what's an actor got to do to get a break?
most importantly, he's Bobby Gorin's wayward brother, Frank.
Absolutely. You nailed that, right? He's no stranger to Law & Order universe. He played Frank Gorin. This is Bobby Gorin, Rebecca, his drug-addicted half-brother. Mm-hmm. And Frank was murdered by Gorin's nemesis, Nicole Wallace.
Nicole Wallace.
Yeah.
Not that Nicole Wallace.
Not from MSNBC. Yes, the
Wallace.
original Nicole Wallace.
Right.
Yeah. Tony's first on-screen appearance was as Darren, the head camp counselor in Friday the 13th, Part 6.
Aww.
He was impaled by Jason with a fence post.
Sounds about right.
Sounds about right.
Was it like immediately after he had sex, he was impaled by a fence post?
No. He just dared to ask Jason to get out of the road.
Oh.
Wait. So, because I haven't watched the newest iteration of Law & Order, so then also Dan from Veep is a cop in this, I guess?
Yeah. You're talking about Reese Scott.
Whoever did that wanted the cops to show up and kill Miller. And when they didn't...
Someone did it himself in the park.
Exactly.
So Scandal and Veep are both in this universe now, so that's exciting.
We have a Hey, It's That Girl.
Hey, it's that girl.
Who is playing Laura Kingsbury.
He would show up at my bodega where I get my coffee. He would show up at my Pilates studio. How did he know what class I signed up for? It makes you crazy.
I don't know.
That's Emily Mead, 4 Law & Order Universe appearances. You might recognize her from HBO's porn origin drama, The Deuce.
I didn't watch that.
Yes, you did. I know you watched it
I
with
watched
me.
one episode of it. It was so boring that I tapped out and you watched the rest of it.
I'm going to call you out on your bullshit. We did a review on this on Crime Writers On, so you didn't. So you just have just blocked it out of your mind.
It was so boring.
Yeah. Well, she was Lori, the working girl turned porn star. She starred alongside Maggie Gyllenhaal, James Franco, and as James Franco's twin brother, James Franco.
That's what you need. Double Francos.
Yeah, what was the point of that? Just like, we'll do a split screen on this drama, so...
Because we can.
Because we can.
Because James Franco.
We're going to Winklevoss the shit out of this.
Yeah, you just like... It's in case at some point we want to kill one of them off, we can still have James Franco. She was Amy in The Leftovers and Susan in Dead Ringers, but who can forget her starring role in the Lifetime movie... Mother, May I Sleep with Danger?
No.
Oh.
Yes. Well, this was the remake of the 1996 Tori Spelling movie.
They remade it?
Well, kind of. So, like in the update, it doesn't revolve around a co-ed and her mysterious, murderous boyfriend. It involves lesbian vampires. So...
What?
Is it Wild Things? Like, what is happening here?
It seemed like they just bought the name... and said, let's put this on Lifetime. People will watch it. The writer
license the name?
Yeah. The writer says that she wrote the whole thing in 4 days, which seems like 3 too many. We do have a repeat offender.
Repeat offender.
There's Elizabeth Marvel as our favorite defense attorney, Rita Calhoun.
If she had known that her DNA would be stored in an unregulated database, she never would have surrendered her DNA in the first place.
She's been Calhoun 14 times on SVU, but this is her first time bringing the character to the mothership. But I want to know, can you tell me who is playing Olivia Benson?
The law doesn't recognize something as innocuous as having flowers sent to you in the wrong circumstances. They don't understand that can be threatening and terrifying.
Oh, jeez.
I don't know.
Okay, brace yourself. That's 1982 Miss Beverly Hills winner and Mrs. Peter Herman. Marcia Haggerty?
Oh, Marcia
Am
Haggerty.
I reading that right?
Yeah, that's exactly her name.
Mrs. Peter Herman.
Mrs. Peter Herman, yeah. So I think it's Mariska Hargitay.
Oh, okay.
An Emmy Award and Golden Globe winner. She's played Benson in 6 other TV shows, including Chicago Fire, Chicago PD, and Saturday Night Live.
Huh.
Just waiting for her to do it on Sesame Street. and she'll be like right behind Munch for that. Her first
was she in that sketch, or what was that just Munch and the special victims or special letters unit sketch from Sesame Street?
She was not. I think none of those Muppets were actually. They were based on. Rebecca, you don't know what we're talking about. There was a Sesame Street one where they had like Muppets that looked like people, and you'd be.
It was SVU, and it was called Special Letters Unit, and they were looking for a letter of all the Law and Orders to choose.
I know,
and you'd be surprised that the Stabler Muppet, which looks just basically, it has Bert's head, ends up looking pretty much like Maloney. You're like, oh, I never realized that.
100%.
Yeah, they really look just like them. Munch looked just like Munch.
Captain, I found the missing M.
Where is it? Where is it?
Right here.
This doesn't look anything like the letter M.
Oh, yeah? Well, listen to this.
Like Stabler does have all of his features like right in the middle of his face.
Yeah,
Just like,
he's very Bert.
Yeah, totally.
Absolutely very Bert. So Mariska's first on-screen appearance was as the woman in the red dress in the Ronnie Millsap video, She Loves My Car.
Wow.
Ronnie Millsap is blind, but he drives a car apparently? Okay, so Jess Brady, as we said, is new to this squad. She replaces Kate Dixon, played by the great Cameron Manheim. So some characters on Law & Order get a big send-off, like Kincaid or Sutherland, and some are just gone, right? With like Schiff or Bernard or Cosgrove, where they're just a little throwaway line, and they moved on. But this is how Dixon left the series this season. She sent Shaw and Riley a text that said, "Hey, I moved to Florida with my deaf son. Didn't want to make a scene. See you around."
Okay.
Talk about the ultimate Irish goodbye, right?
Yeah, I gotta respect it. I respect it like deuces.
But I gotta say, if I got that, I would immediately assume that they've both been murdered and their bodies incinerated in the furnace at the Arconia.
Yeah, who's using your phone?
I would have a feeling that like IAB is about to swing by and be like, "We have some questions." So it's like, oh no.
When someone says, "Hey, by the way, I decided to move away in a mysterious way all of a sudden," that's a red flag. I mean, especially if you're a homicide detective. Hey, this is kind of what we do. This kind of sounds familiar. A little sketchy. But they were good with it. So we do have a crossover. Brady and Price walk into her office to find Olivia Benson waiting for them to talk about Laura Kingsbury.
Laura Kingsbury's mother called me and said that you booked her for this Central Park shooting. And I'm trying to make sense of this. I know this woman, and she's not a killer. She's actually a victim.
And Price says,
Of what?
Of what? Well, it's Benson, so we all should be able to figure that out.
Context clues.
Context clues.
I mean, she's world renowned.
Yeah. How many special victims? Like, is there just one precinct of special victims that they all just know that's her?
No, the best part is that we found out that in this universe, there are SVU departments in each of the boroughs and the subway.
That's right. SVU subway unit.
Because that like great detective, that sexy detective, we found out like he was on which I guess like he's just chasing gropers on the subway. Those are the special victims.
Yep.
Where is their precinct? I've always like wondered, like I know I saw it online somewhere and I'm just like, what is your coverage here? Like how do we always, I just always wondered about that.
They go to every neighborhood.
Because it's just weird that Benson is sitting there and everyone's like, oh yeah, that's Olivia Benson.
Yep. We're going to Queens today.
They don't even question, like, who the fuck are you in my office? Like,
well, we know that now. Here? As we'll learn in the second half of the episode, she's world renowned, Brandi. World renowned.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Why are you here, Olivia? So, well, when the Amazon guy shows up with a package, you don't have to ask, well, where's this from? It's kind of obvious, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So Brady defends searching the local database of rape victims to find a murderer.
None of it changes the fact that Laura Kingsbury murdered someone. We have the evidence, and that evidence is legal.
Well, let's see what a judge has to say about that.
As if she's the one taking the police department to court.
I think she does.
Yeah, I think she's turned into like IAB John Wick or something. She's just like, you're all going down. I'm like, I respect it. Let's do it.
Yeah, but it's kind of like, I guess she's like, oh, well, I'm just going to like call my frenemy, Rita Calhoun, and be like, I got one for you. These fuckers. And I got to wonder, like, why does she even take Benson's phone calls at this point? So I got a case that you're not going to make any money on, but you're going to put a lot of time into it, and hopefully you'll feel better about yourself.
You'll make a name for yourself.
You keep hearing about all these victims being failed, that Benson knows about them being failed, yet somehow he never before she can intervene to stop the failures. Like, I don't understand her. I don't understand how she runs her house.
It's because they didn't call her.
Yeah, you could just call Benson, I guess.
Lemon, lime, and a drop of cherry make a simple Shirley. But what happens when Tito's handmade vodka reveals this sweet sipper's dirty secret? Stir up a Tito's Dirty Sherlock and crack the case with Tito's at Tito'sVodka.com. 40% alcohol by volume, namely 80 proof, crafted to be savored responsibly.
If you can't tell by the sound of my voice, I'm completely naked. I'm bearing it all. I've got nothing to hide. Because just like Cricket Wireless, I believe in total transparency. Cricket puts it all out there. It's all there for the world to see. The taxes are already included in the price of their plans. So I'm not surprised when people stare. They've just never seen anything this transparent before.
Switch to Cricket for a phone plan that bears it all. With transparent pricing. Smile, you're on Cricket.
All right, now take a look at the second half of this episode. Calhoun plans to argue Laura was being stalked by Tyler, and she killed him in self-defense.
This case is going to come down to my client's state of mind and whether she acted reasonably. And we believe that a jury should understand that Laura's definition of reasonable is very different from someone that has never been raped before. We cannot excise Laura Kingsbury's past trauma from the moments leading up to her pulling that trigger.
On the stand, Benson says the cops never believed Laura when she reported her rape and had no reason to believe they'd take her stalking claim seriously. Therefore, she turned to the instant justice of cold blue steel. But Price points out to a police captain that none of that meets the legal definition of self-defense. Laura tells the jury that after breaking it off after a third date, Tyler would not stop sending flowers and sent 126 handwritten letters. Price tells new district attorney Nick Baxter the love letters kind of suck, but they're not threatening, and the only thing Tyler may be guilty of is a condition known as skibbity toilet riz.
What?
Hey, facts, no printer. I'm with the alphas on this. With an expose on the misuse of the local DNA database about to drop, Benson goes straight to Baxter, who urges Price to offer Laura a deal of 10 years. Even with Price, Benson, and Calhoun all urging her to take it, Laura refuses. She says recovering from her trauma took too long to admit she did anything wrong. At closing, Price admits the system did wrong by Laura in the past, but Tyler didn't deserve to die for it. The jury agrees and convicts her on man one. As an olive branch to Olivia, Nolan says the DA will announce they'll no longer use the local database in unrelated crimes, and she agrees to go to the press conference. Well, why does the defense want to call Benson to the stand?
Captain Benson is a globally recognized authority in this field.
She is a globally recognized expert.
Globally? Well,
Yeah.
I will say, every single time I've seen Benson on the stand, every single time,
Yeah.
it just seems like she's making shit up as she's talking about it. Every single
She's
time.
pulling it out of her ass.
Yeah,
Okay.
they'll be like, so why did this victim pull out a mannequin and start biting people with its mouth? Well, that's not uncommon, you see, because like she always says something isn't uncommon, and it's always something that's wilder than the last thing, and it feels like she's just making shit up. You know?
There's like a point where it's like, I get that you're trying to reform the system from the inside, but then it's just like, how do you run your house, Olivia? Like, you're the chief of police. And like, the weirdest thing she says at some point, she was like, she said to the victim / murderer, she was like, you could have come to me. Like, could she have? Because they failed her at like such low levels. Why would she think to call Benson unless she knew Benson?
Right.
But did we just gloss over the idea that Benson is globally recognized?
I didn't gloss over it.
You know, she likes conferences. She probably uses a lot of frequent flyer miles.
But had she been to Belgium? And they're like, oh, yes.
That's Olivia Benson.
Here comes, yes, Captain Olivia Benson.
She belongs to one of those like VDOC societies where they solve like the Jack the Ripper case.
Exactly.
And shit.
Exactly.
You know who we need?
She's at a conference with Professor T.
Yeah. Well, you know, she learned everything from Wong.
Bring it Wong. He's not wrong. Bring it Wong.
So just any excuse to play that.
I know, you love it.
So Calhoun's like building her up like she's a globally recognized expert and she can't wait to rip her apart on the stand in the next rape case. Captain Benson, you say you're a globally recognized expert, but that's not true, is it?
I like Olivia Benson. Like they'll bring up something, they're like, "But this happened," and Olivia's like, "Sometimes it be like that," and she's like,
"Okay, how do you know?" Well, the Globe told me.
The Globe told me. So we always say that the first half of Law and Order is a murder mystery, and the second half is a moral mystery. So here's the deal: no one is saying that Tyler was an actual threat, not Calhoun, not Benson. So this is not in dispute, so don't dispute it. But they all agree that the law for self-defense must be a reasonable belief of harm. And Benson is arguing that because of her trauma, she may believe things that aren't harmful are. So this shooting meets the legal definition of self-defense.
that is a slippery ass slope. Like that is, I get what she's saying, but I would not have put it like that. I just feel like she's testified enough to like have better ways of phrasing and framing things. Cause this is just like, well, she thought it, so she could have killed him. And I would have just been like, look, like she could have argued, you know, she went to meet the guy to be like, leave me alone. And he was pursuing. I would have argued that she felt in imminent danger at that point there. Like she could have said that then instead of just being like, in general, she went to kill him.
Yeah. I mean, Benson is basically arguing for like Florida's stand your ground law.
Yeah, exactly.
Like if you feel this way, which you might feel because of some reason that I tell you is not uncommon, then you can just shoot people, right? And that's basically what she's arguing for.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that we love Benson in part is because she is an advocate for victims, and this is, of course, the writers of Law and Order writing for this SVU character, so it tells you like what they think is actually going on in this other show. I don't think what they've done by this character is beneficial to her larger value on television. She kind of made Benson, instead of seeming like an empathetic advocate for victims, they end up writing her so that she kind of comes off as caring, but
prickish.
But with
no knowledge of how the system works. Like she's just like an armchair detective as opposed to someone who knows how to get around the laws because she has to enforce them. That's why I would have just been like, look, obviously you went to meet up with him to tell him to leave you alone because you just needed to confront him and he made you feel unsafe and you carried a gun, which we recognize is illegal. We'll get you on the gun charge. And then you shot him there because you felt threatened. Like that makes more sense. And that's how a cop would argue it instead of just like, well, the vibes were off. So, you know.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's never clear what Benson's ask is here. Is she asking that like they drop the charges because she had been the victim of a sexual assault by someone else in the past? So let her go? Or it's not quite clear to me like what she wants other than to, you know, to say I'm supportive of this victim, but to what extent?
Or why she's so particular, because I feel like this scenario has come up before in SVUs.
It has.
And so it's just like at least point out that she did in fact murder someone or she did shoot someone, and like her hesitancy to say that. And I was like, yo, she went and shot a guy. Like, you know what actually happened. Like you can spend this. Why are you pretending that's not the case? And like, also she needs therapy. And clearly, are you trying to help her past this? You know, that's also not making any sense.
You know, this has happened many times in SVU, and it kept reminding me of that Jennifer Love Hewitt episode, remember? Where Jennifer Love Hewitt had actually been attacked by the same guy over and over, but no one believed her. And there's a scene where she goes and buys like an illicit gun. This is like exactly what Jennifer Love Hewitt did, and now you're like, it's fine. Like Jennifer, like it's like what you'd learned from that case was the wrong lesson. Olivia Benson, it was the wrong fucking lesson.
I feel like this character was placed in the hands of people that don't understand her. We're gonna bring her to an extreme here. We're gonna like really silly putty like what we think Olivia Benson is.
The whole thing she seemed the most mad and justifiably is about them using the local database. And so it's just like, okay, so I get that you're just gonna do whatever it takes to like reprimand them for using the local database, but like you could definitely spin this better to get the victim off or get her a reduced sentence and, just just take that to the newspaper regardless. I'm surprised, honestly, that they were so we won't do this again. I'm like, how many times have you done this? You definitely have done this every single time you couldn't figure something out.
Well, some of the exculpatory evidence presented for Laura is that she received 126 handwritten letters from Tyler. And so Price is talking to Baxter, kind of going through the letters, and he says they're cringy, but they're not threatening. So they're going to start giving examples. I love it when Law and Order writers try to write bad writing. It's like, okay, I've been waiting.
It's right in their
to
wheelhouse.
do this. Yes, exactly.
Are these letters aggressive?
I'll be your moon on a dark night, your anchor in rough seas. No, they're cringy, not criminal.
Like you said, among the things that he wrote in his little notebook entitled Things I Love was the way your nose crinkles when you drink something fuzzy. And I kind of wonder, what's in the rest of it? Like the folds of your cankles when you try on wedge heels, it just...
Cankles, really?
Yeah, cankles. They got to build this AI for all types.
Okay,
right?
All right. So this episode goes to prove the point about Hugh Dancy, Nolan Price, literally, his reign of terror ruining people's lives just continues. Has there been an episode where he has not ruined somebody's life?
Somebody else is no. There's a witness testifies and they got to come out to their parents or yes, you have to do it, but it's going to destroy your business.
Yes. But it's the right thing to do.
The right thing to do.
He says in his weird ass American accent. And I'm sorry, a lot of British actors are great at the American accent. He is not one of those. He is just not. But it's every single episode, it's we know this is the wrong thing to do, but it's also the right thing to do. So fuck you and fuck you and fuck you. I am prosecuting this case and I will ruin your life. That really is the plot of every single episode that he's in.
Just like how chill Tony Goldwyn is, where Olivia's like, maybe I did go to the newspaper. He's like, so be it.
It seems the Journal has decided to launch a crusade against the use of the city's local DNA database.
You gotta be kidding me. Oh, how could they possibly have gotten that idea?
It's hard to say.
I can't believe you would leak this to the press.
He's the most hands-off, cool parent DA. And I'm like, maybe you should rein in your kids a little more, man.
Yeah, he's we'll have the morality conversation later.
He's like, whatever, you're going to do what you're going to do. You're your own person.
Yeah. But he's got that important district attorney dialogue down, which is make the deal.
Mm-hmm. Did you feel like they were chem testing him and Mariska Hargitay a little bit? I felt like they were.
Really?
Yeah.
Nepo babies, Nepo. It's bring them together.
Well, he has chemistry with literally everyone.
He does.
He's one of those people.
They should definitely bring back Kerry Washington to the Law and Order universe, so we could just have a love triangle. I would love it. It would be the best episode.
That dude is a panty dropper, in a major way. He just is.
So in the end, Price tells Benson that Baxter is going to hold a press conference.
We're having a press conference tomorrow, 11 a.m. Baxter's going to announce that we are no longer going to use evidence procured through the local database to solve unrelated crimes.
We won't use that local database anymore. It's harmful to the victims. It's not in the interest of justice. It's okay this time. We're still sending him a job. Next time.
Yeah, it's not going to
help
help
Laura.
Laura.
We're not going to do it again. It was okay,
I guess I'm mostly surprised that they processed enough rape kits to even find her in the system, honestly.
Yeah, good point.
But
we finally got around to doing all of these.
Yeah, the one, oh, lucky you, the 2%.
This is why I didn't let my kids get fingerprinted in grade school. I'm being dead serious. Because I was like, you do not know how these fucking fingerprints are going to be used.
Well, I have global entry, so hopefully I'm
Lemon, lime, and a drop of cherry make a simple Shirley. But what happens when Tito's handmade vodka reveals this sweet sipper's dirty secret? Stir up a Tito's Dirty Sherlock and crack the case with Tito's at Tito'sVodka.com. 40% alcohol by volume, namely 80 proof, crafted to be savored responsibly.
If you can't tell by the sound of my voice, I'm completely naked. I'm bearing it all. I've got nothing to hide. Because just like Cricket Wireless, I believe in total transparency. Cricket puts it all out there. It's all there for the world to see. The taxes are already included in the price of their plans. So I'm not surprised when people stare. They've just never seen anything this transparent before.
Switch to Cricket for a phone plan that bears it all. With transparent pricing. Smile, you're on Cricket.
All right, let's take a look at the real-life story that inspired this episode. It's time for Rip from the Headlines.
You think you know who did it. You think you know who did it. But you don't know who did it. You don't know who did it. Rip from the Headlines.
The use of artificial intelligence in dating apps is an important plot point in this episode. Most dating apps harness some level of AI to revolutionize matchmaking. Tinder algorithms suggest potential matches based on user behavior patterns. Hinge uses AI to prompt meaningful conversations by highlighting shared interests. And eHarmony relies on scientific matching methods to connect users with highly compatible partners. The integration of AI in dating apps isn't without its controversies. People are a bit dodgy about AI because it hoovers up loads of personal info, which makes privacy a right or concern. The risk of your data being pinched is something to think about. Another issue is bias in algorithms, which can lead to skewed matchmaking results favouring certain demographics and perpetuating stereotypes. Critics argue that AI can make the dating process feel overly mechanical, stripping away the human touch crucial for forming genuine connections. And the biggest ethical head-scratcher? Should an algorithm have the power to influence our love lives? While AI has undoubtedly made online dating more efficient and personalised, these innovations must be approached with caution to ensure fairness, privacy and authenticity. It's a delicate balance between embracing technological advancements and preserving the essential human elements of connection and of love.
Mwah. Oh.
No, there was a kiss at the end of that.
Oh my God.
Sigh got crazy. By the way, fun fact about AI, this edition of Rip from the Headlines was written by artificial intelligence.
Nice.
Yeah, I basically gave it a prompt, and then I gave it to rewrite this, but with a little British slang.
I was going to say.
So you used like how many lakes of water to do this?
Lakes of water?
Yeah, that's like really bad for the environment, Kevin.
It's so bad. They use up so much water to do this, like to do AI every time
They
you
do.
do a prompt.
It's
so good
horrible
job,
for the environment. You know that?
Yeah, I could go
What
on
are you guys
rants.
talking about?
Because they have to keep the servers cool. The servers,
uses
the
like a
servers
lot of
required
water.
for this. It's horrible for the environment. AI. It's the most like energy consuming, resource consuming technology that's ever been invented.
It's so bad for. It's like you could just run your lawn sprinklers for like days on end and still like use less.
Brandy's
water.
never going to forgive you for this.
Just like Baxter and Price, I promise not to use this database, this technology again. Until I do.
Yeah, you're 100%
100% going to do it again. So just sort of in general, do you think AI matches are helpful suggestions, or do you think...
No, as a black woman, it is so bad. It's like all people, the greatest dating app from a structural standpoint was OkCupid. I think because they had like match questions and you could just look at the percentage and all people know what they don't want. Like all they need is filtering and like maybe the only advances I would say are like the GPS on it.
Don't match me with someone in California
Yeah, but like as a black woman, like first of all, there's like racial bias. Like I don't know if people don't like me because I'm just a black woman or because they just don't like how I look, or is it because of like other reasons? But what happens is that these apps tend to show, and I'm using this like hot people to other hot people. And so if I'm getting like booted out because a bunch of like racist people in Minnesota just don't want to look at black women, and I'm just being put in a pool with other quote unquote undesirable people. There's like a whole group of people that may like be like, well, I like black women and like, I'll never see them.
Right.
And like, it's this whole thing where it's like people look at people like, oh, they're attractive. Also, people aren't good at writing bios. Like I have to write like a bio for like business
Correct.
and for comedy. You ask people to write these tiny little snippets. You don't know why I'm swiping on people. You don't know what like made me laugh about them. And it's just forcing people to date in a way that nobody actually gets to know anyone. And it's terrible because these apps are not dating apps. They're money-making apps. Ideally, you would delete the app and you'd meet someone. And so it's just, I'm on them and because like, what are you going to do? But like, they're terrible. I hate them so much.
I mean, we know a couple of people who have gotten together and gotten married because of dating apps. I work with somebody who met his long-term partner on Hinge and so forth. But I think about this all the time, especially what you said about bios. Like I read, sometimes I'll go in and read bios, and it's literally a list of everything that your last partner did that sucked, and you say, and it's like
no drama.
Exactly. Well, which means you're full of drama.
You're the drama. Yeah.
I would filter out everyone who ever says no drama on anything. But no, that's a really, really good point. Is that the algorithm it's making decisions based on decisions that human beings have made, and those decisions are fucking terrible.
Yeah, because it'll be like, Brandi, here's your most compatible, and it'll be like all these black guys, but then they're like politically conservative, which already that's ridiculous. But like, it's like you've looked at. I literally said I'm liberal. Like, I have dated a couple guys on like from dating apps, and the last guy I dated, he was just like, I thought you were cute, and I like read your profile and was kind of like, because I listed like 4 things in my profile. I was like, 1, I think Jessica Fletcher killed all those people. 2, like I like sports and trivia. It was like it was like fun facts about things, because it's just like, well, when you have swiping fatigue, you're also just not even reading that far. At one point, sometimes I'll just go on like a swiping spree. I'm like, well, that's 3 hot guys in a row. We'll sort it out in post. And like, it's so I've definitely confused the algorithm. They're like, who are you into? And I think they maybe go on who you talk to, but it's bad. And like, no, AI is making everything worse. And honestly, without AI, these dating apps, you're letting people who are not good at social skills run dating apps. Get the fuck out of here. Like, just give me OkCupid again.
So Tinder uses AI to optimize profile pictures. Hinge uses AI to detect fake profiles. That's good. eHarmony studies user interactions to improve matchmaking, they say. Ugh. Some of the apps are actually using AI to help you write those bios and things. OkCupid is using ChatGPT to generate questions to start conversations. The app Coffee Meets Bagel they claim to use a deep neural network to curate matches. Teaser AI helps with, creating those profiles, and Christian Mingle helps adults find other adults who feel shame over hand stuff over clothes.
I can tell you, Hinge is not doing a good job on fake. No one's doing a good job on fake profiles. Like, there are so many you can tell when you're like, so I don't know if you know the game GeoGuessr, where you get basically.
We love that game.
Okay, so the only benefit of like my weird period where I was obsessed with GeoGuessr is I can tell exactly where like the fake profile, like guys who are always in like Europe, what license plate. I'm like, that is an Italian license plate.
They don't drive on the left in that country.
There are no pictures of anything in North America. I could tell by those trees.
That's Myanmar, and I know that from GeoGuessr.
And the using like to tell which profile picture to look at, everyone has that on mostly. It's really whichever one people tend to settle on. So if it's like a weird meme, because for some reason a lot of guys will post like 2 pictures. Like, I don't know how they find missing single men, because none of them have a good photo. None of them. And I was talking to my guy friend. He's like, well, unless they're married and have wedding photos, they don't find us. And so like it'll be like they'll put like 2 like blurry photos and then like a random meme, and that would be the first one that shows up, because people look at it and be like, what the fuck? And so if you're looking at it for a long time, that becomes your A photo. So like, is the AI good? No, it's so dumb.
So the latest entrant into the AI-generated dating app scene is Clippy from Windows 95. Looks like you're trying to get some trim.
I would trust him, honestly. He could not fuck up my life more than
Smash
Hinge.
or pass.
Well, that is going to do it for us. We want to thank our guest, Brandi Brown. Brandi, how can our listeners follow you online?
I'm on Instagram. It's the Brandi, ITS, the BRANDI, Instagram, Twitter, Blue Sky. I'm on Hinge, Tinder, Bumble. If you see me there, no, you didn't. I don't know. It's bad. So yeah, that's where I am. I'm gonna be at on November 20th. I'll be at Modest Brewing doing some comedy in Minneapolis. Come check that out.
Awesome.
Rebecca, where can people swipe left on you?
They can't. But if you want to find me online, you can find me at Reb Lavoie.
And you can track me on Twitter at Kevin P. Flynn, where I will ignore you. You can also tweet to us at Law & Order Pod. Follow us on Instagram at These Are Their Stories Podcast, or like and subscribe on YouTube and TikTok. Our newsreader was Cy Frater. Or was it? Our theme music was composed and performed by Uncanny Valleys. Content assistance from Travis Roy. Lily Flynn handles promotions. All clips in this podcast were used in compliance with the U.S. Copyrights Act fair use exemption for criticism and commentary. Go to lawandorderpodcast.com and sign up for our newsletter for a chance to be our next Law & Order Marathon winner. These Are Their Stories was recorded in Studio C and is a production of Partners in Crime Media.
partners in crime media.
Lemon, lime, and a drop of cherry make a simple Shirley. But what happens when Tito's handmade vodka reveals this sweet sipper's dirty secret? Stir up a Tito's Dirty Sherlock and crack the case with Tito's at Tito'sVodka.com. 40% alcohol by volume, namely 80 proof, crafted to be savored responsibly.
If you can't tell by the sound of my voice, I'm completely naked. I'm bearing it all. I've got nothing to hide. Because just like Cricket Wireless, I believe in total transparency. Cricket puts it all out there. It's all there for the world to see. The taxes are already included in the price of their plans. So I'm not surprised when people stare. They've just never seen anything this transparent before.
Switch to Cricket for a phone plan that bears it all. With transparent pricing. Smile, you're on Cricket.